first edition of Clean and Green India Summit and Exhibition 2016, jointly organized by SingEx Exhibition and Franchise India, was held recently in the National Capital Region to an overwhelmingly positive response. This two-day event was hosted with a mission to bring together leading industry stakeholders under one roof to discuss the insights, trends, challenges and opportunities in the clean waste and environment management business in Asia, with a special focus on India. Aloysius Orlando, CEO at SingEx Holdings, started off the proceedings with his welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be here, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to be with us for this inaugural edition. According to the Waste Management Market in India 2014 to 2025 report by Novunus, the waste management market is expected to be worth over US 13 billion by 2025. Indian municipal solid waste management market is expected to grow at a CAGR of some 7% by 2025, while e-waste management market is at a CAGR of 10% during the same period. India, being a populous and fast-developing economy, invariably generates a significant amount of waste per annum, be it the municipal solid waste, hazardous waste, biomedical waste, or e-waste. Against this backdrop, CGI 2016 was developed as a platform to cater to the growing needs of the clean and waste management industry here in India. While the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan or Clean India Mission initiative has opened doors to opportunities for the cleaning and waste management companies in India, there are also many challenges to be addressed, such as physical infrastructure, the economics of implementation, and policy innovation, among others. Thus, companies are looking beyond India to seek and share knowledge, as well as to find collaborative partners for new business models, expertise, technologies, and innovative solutions. To facilitate this, CGI 2016 focuses on business matching and connecting you to your prospects at this event. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to thank our partners, sponsors, and participants for your kind support, and I wish all attendees a rewarding and fulfilling CGI 2016. Thank you very much.
Ritu Maria, the editor-in-chief at Franchise India Holdings, was the next to deliver her welcome speech, which highlighted the objective behind the event and the opportunities that the Clean India mission has generated.
A very good morning to all of you, and as the editor of the Franchise India Group, I extend you all a very warm welcome to the inaugural first edition of the Clean and Green India Awards and Summit happening here today. One of the main objectives of Clean and Green India 2016 is been, when it was founded, was to bring this industry right in the mainstream and really talk more about the products and the services which would take India and make this Swachh Bharat movement really most successful. So for any moment or any revolution to really come out and be able to take its or really find its true juncture, it is the industry which has to support it, and we feel that now the time has come for the clean and green industry to really go forward and find its bearings as not just as independent businesses, but as an industry. When I was researching this industry, I came across some really large numbers. So our urban solid waste that I came across that we collect every day is about 47 million tons or somewhere around. And if you go to rural areas, this comes down to about 70 million tons. And what is more baffling is that 1/3 of the total waste that is collected is there in this country never gets collected. So virtually it's strewn all around or never really coming into the cleaning subset. Now, if you will allow me to say so, I think there's a gigantic mess we are talking about over here which needs to be taken care of. But as a business editor, I also feel there's a great opportunity in there. I think it calls for some great and exciting business plans to be put up in areas like collection of waste, segregation, proper dumping, and treatments across the country, which would be a very, very large industry going forward. I look forward to these exciting 2 days and looking to meet all of you. So welcome once again.
The The event featured a stellar lineup of inspirational keynote speakers from the industry. In the inaugural keynote address, Dr. Mahesh Gupta, President PhD Chambers and the Chairman and MD of Kent RO Systems, spoke about the most pertinent issues facing our environment and how we could save it from further destruction.
Today the biggest concern for mankind is the environment and not other security concerns, because man as a human race is built on 5 elements in Indian mythology: is water, air, earth, fire and space. Obviously we have not contaminated our fire and space because that can't be touched. But we certainly have contaminated our water, we have contaminated our air, we have contaminated the earth with all types of waste put on the earth. So we need to work on these 3 elements. One is they reduce the consumption of the material which we use unnecessarily and waste a lot of material. Is the utilization of this has to be optimum. A. B. Whatever we use and we put it which is not in use has to be disposed of properly, so that we do not contaminate our environment. Water is getting contaminated because of the excessive pollutants coming into our water, and also the chemicals which we don't use, maybe from the agriculture or from medical things. Those consumption have to be modified. Whatever discharge we make into rivers has to be a clean discharge. Whatever medicine which use, maybe go back to Ayurvedic treatment wherein we don't use any chemicals into our system. In fact, whatever chemicals are used in this world ultimately find their burial into the water, and water gets contaminated. So we need to reduce that contamination. But if the contamination has happened, we need to have methods to clean water, at least for drinking purposes. Although only 1% fresh water is used for drinking, but even that water needs to be very clean so that our health is maintained. We need to see that the contamination of air is reduced. We have to use more of electric vehicles. We have to use systems wherein we do not spoil our air from the industrial pollution. But if it do happen, then we have to have methods to clean those air, at least inside the room, so that we can get sufficient oxygens and do not take all the pollutants into our system inside in the lungs and spoil our health. So we need to work on all these areas to have a healthy living for our future generations.
Next up was a power-packed presentation by Dr. Anil K Gupta, the Michael D. Dingman Chair and Professor of Strategy, Globalization and Entrepreneurship at the University of Maryland. He presented an outlook of the Indian economy and its impact on the Clean and Green India movement.
India is about 15 years behind China. Many numbers about India, economic, GDP, etc. for 2015 are very close to what China was in 2000. So therefore a question to ask is that, will India 2015 to 2030 be like China from 2000 to 2015? And there my perspective that I shared is that in many ways India will be different because China single-mindedly over the last 15 years essentially said growth, economic growth first, and we leave the issue of environment to future generations. For India, given the democratic system and given the vocal nature of Indians and the media, it is impossible for the Indian government to essentially say, let's forget about dirty air and dirty water and waste in the cities. Indian citizens will not permit it. So that's number one. Number two, so therefore India has to be growth and environment rather than first growth and then environment. In terms of how on a complex subject like clean and green India, is that despite all of the things that one could admire about the Modi government and its commitment to the various initiatives, I think there is still the tendency to try to transform India in terms of grand design. But then I talked about how, for instance, Jack Welch transformed GE, how Deng Xiaoping transformed China, is that you transform the large complex system, but what you do, you first experiment, you build a showcase. So like Deng Xiaoping built Shanghai, and then he said to other cities, be like Shanghai. So it's a case of you take one city or two or three, but not 100, and you build a showcase of what you want the new reality to be, and then you scale up from that and say to the rest of the country, be like that.
Manufacturing and consumption of electronic goods form an integral part of the Indian growth story. But the proper disposal of the rapidly accumulating e-waste has become a major challenge in India. B.K. Soni, Chairman and Managing Director at Eco Recycling India, elaborated on effective eradication of e-waste in India.
The generation of electronic waste should not be a problem or should not be considered as a problem. Treatment of that in a right manner should be a concern or should be probably the agenda of our discussion. Government wants that electronic waste, so much of the target should be there and so much of the material should be collected and processed. But what about the remaining? Somebody has to work. Otherwise the continuity of the informal sector will remain. So what we have to work out is we have to work out a proper financial plan, thereby the more and more recyclers like EcoReco comes into market and they take charge of the electronic waste. That is the fundamental approach should be. And therefore only I said it's a training, transport and technology mission. Training in the sense that unless you have persons who are handling this material, that themselves do not know what are the hazardous elements are there in that and what are the impact of that is there. They will be spoiling their own health and in turn the family is suffering. That is the first and foremost thing which we have to address. Then transport for the reverse logistics system has to be completely in place. And we need to deploy the proper technologies. For that the financial assistance in the form of either taxes or subsidy or any other form government should consider, so that it becomes a meaningful, objective-driven approach to eradicate electronic waste.
Following the keynote addresses, the Clean and Green India 2016 event saw a riveting panel discussion which had thought leaders and industry stakeholders deliberating on the topic waste management in the country.
So before I start discussing with the three experts, I will ask a very strong question to Dr. Panigrahi. You were in the top-class government section of the Planning Commission and all these things. Why till now we do not have a single waste-to-energy plant in India? What is lacking?
There are a lot of gaps in many places. If a policy is there, the implementation mechanism is not there. The policies, comprehensive policy is not there that you are aware of. The states are not at all serious. Municipalities are bankrupt. The law is not adequate to address to the issue. There is a lot of bottlenecks and gaps at many stages. And this is a sector which is always remained neglected since independence. And so I hope this is, even if we had demanded that there should be a mission on waste management separately in the climate change missions. There are 8 missions in the climate change. So we demanded one separate mission only for waste management. But waste sector was incorporated indifferently in all these 8 sectors and it was not considered. So it is the politicians who are at the helm of the affairs. Normally, they have never thought this is as a priority sector.
The problem, I think, what I gathered from the government, it is they don't want to perform it. That's why there's a blaming game. The politicians blame bureaucrats, the bureaucrats blame the technocrats, the technocrats blame, the administration, and then ultimately public is also blamed. Look, I was also planning commission before. Now it's Niti Aayog as an expert for waste to energy. I warned the government. I said, look, if you want to have a waste to energy plant, it should be owned by the government. Don't expect the private company to come and put their thousands of crores to make a waste to energy plant. It will never work. And if you want to really learn from the other countries, go and see what is the mechanism of their success. You will never achieve the plant to energy, by the private company. It is not possible, number one. And I suggested, even I met our Prime Minister, I told him, sir, waste to energy corporation, like your national thermal plant, corporation, like a hydropower corporation, like nuclear power corporation, you should start a national waste to energy corporation. The raw material is the waste. We need power. The output is power. Why can't you do it? And it should belong to the government. You see, in European countries also I've seen they don't never call it an incineration plant. They call it a power plant. That all belong to the agglomeration of all municipalities. Otherwise it will not work.
I agree with you. But I have just additional input to it also. Like government cannot take A to Z responsibility. And it is all the stakeholder has a role, and they need to play it effectively.
Now I think with this, after the solid waste, I think let us swim in water. I just want to ask Mr. Mittal, there are a lot of opportunity in this wastewater treatment, both municipal sewerage as well as the industrial waste. So what is your challenge?
Yeah. Every waste we are finding the challenge is attitude problem. This is not my responsibility. Government should do. Every industrialist or every municipality is behaving like that. Secondly is awareness. Say I segregate industry into two segments. One is MNC, second is SSIs. MNCs can afford these sewage treatment plants, effluent treatment plants in their industry, but some SSIs, they are not having budget for day-to-day livelihood to run their industry. So they take it as the last priority to treat the sewage or effluent treatment as an priority. Government can make rules only. They had done it. CPCB is there, state pollution control bodies are there. They are saying industry has to get NOCs to run this industry, and people are getting it, but they are not running those plants. Challenges are, first, the huge capital cost which is in installing this STP or ETP plant. Second is operating cost. Third one is skilled manpower they require. That is not there.
And Patel ji, you are doing a good work, everything is fine. And as I said, you have to motivate other youngsters to come into the same field. You are giving value to the waste. That's why people are coming to you, isn't it? And what is your now challenge again? And if not, if you don't want to go, beyond Ahmedabad, at least inside Gujarat you can do.
So, sir has touched the point where, I have to share that we are already expanding our operations. Ahmedabad, we have already covered most of the Ahmedabad, but we are expanding our footprint in Ahmedabad now with more vehicles and more people. But apart from that, we are already starting our operations in Baroda in next 6 months' time, maybe Surat and Rajkot. And depending upon the new planning which might have with the new investors also coming in, we might look at outside Gujarat, but we are not sure right now.
Thank you. And thank you, all of you, all three experts. I think now, with the discussion, I must have given you the clear picture of Clean India. Okay, and there are a lot of opportunities and challenges to really clean the country. And I thank all of three of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The two-day event ended with the Clean and Green India Awards for the year 2016, recognizing the efforts and significant contributions by companies and individuals across multiple categories in the eco-conservation and waste management space.
The first category for the evening, Best Green Startup of the Year. And the award goes to Namo E-Waste Management Limited. We love the sound of the next category. In fact, the next category is the Next Big Thing Award. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's have a big round of applause for Hero Electric Vehicles Private Limited. All right, so moving on to our next category, which is Sustainable Water Management Award, sponsored by High-Tech Enviro Engineers and Consultants Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sustainable Water Management Award goes to Adani Power Maharashtra Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next category, Environmental Youth Award. So let's announce our winner of the Environmental Youth Award, Mr. Shrikant Pothapragada, Executive Director, Varroc Elastomers Private Limited. Oh, this is going to be my favorite category. This is the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, and the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year is Miss Ragini Jain, founder Geetanjali Envirotech. Let's march ahead with our next category, which is Environmental Legacy. This is the Editor's Choice Award. And the award goes to Dr. Amiya Kumar Sahu. We're back to another exciting category, which is Best Innovation in the Cleaning Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Nilfisk India Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to announce our next exciting category, which is Best Facilities Management Service Provider. And the award goes to Jones Lang LaSalle.
For us, this space and the work that we're doing is all about collaboration. No one company can fix the problem or address the challenge. We all have to work together, and therefore we personally believe that and professionally believe that the more people that come together and join hands, exchange information, share knowledge, ideas, the faster we can scale up, the faster we can reach out before it's too late. So we complement this initiative and the work that Franchise India is doing, and we will certainly contribute in our own humble way to see how we can take it further.
I think it's a very good initiative. We need to be able to showcase the capabilities of various industries, and one of the things that has happened is the clean and green industry is driven actually from the grassroots up in a very big way in India. There are a lot of NGOs, there are a lot of small-time players who started out at the grassroots, and at the same time there are a lot of very large players. You have the bigwigs of the corporate industry who are doing this as a CSR initiative as well. So from both ends of the stick you have a way that you're sort of resolving the problem. But the attention that needs to be given to the smaller players, the industrial, grassroots, I think that's where the event has actually brought out its real capability.